Just scratch the surface to discover a creamy, rich coconut pineapple delight. Coco Lopez. It makes a unique tasting refreshment because within this luscious tropical party maker lies the secret. Real cream of coconut. That's what gives Coco Lopez its creamy, rich taste. All waiting for you inside Coco Lopez.
What's the Midas touch?
Oh, it's having the right muffler for my car.
It's doing the work right in front of you.
It's not giving me aggravation.
It's backing up their muffler in writing from coast to coast.
It's a friendly smile.
It's a big, comfortable waiting room.
It's a free estimate and a good price.
It's a way of doing business for over 25 years.
Get the Midas touch. Nobody else has it.
That's a nice touch.
What a day.
How about a quick pick-me-up?
Who's that?
Me, New York's favorite pick-me-up. Pick me up and call Ravishing Rhoda in Rockland.
Yeah.
Gorgeous Gretchen in Greenwich. And there's always your mom in Manhattan.
I know who to call.
And save 35% by dialing it yourself weeknights after 5. Local calls after 9.
She'll love this. Hello, Mom.
Mom? For a quick pick-me-up, pick me up.
Consider for a moment the common garden hose. Though necessary, it's nevertheless a great waster of space, heavy, prone to kinking, and a nuisance to wind and unwind. Now consider Black & Decker's hose and reel. The hose itself won't kink, and though light in weight, is tough and durable. The housing is rugged plastic, but best of all, with the hose and reel, winding is no longer a nuisance. The hose and reel, a water hose on a wind-up reel, portable and very compact.
11 alive.
Wednesday, June 10th, the United States cuts off plane shipments to Israel in response to the attack on the Iraqi nuclear reactor. A baseball strike could happen within 48 hours, and crowds of New Yorkers are startled by a make-believe sniper on top of the Chrysler building.
Also tonight, Mayor Koch makes it official. He'll run again. Reports the man who shot the Pope was trained by the PLO. And the latest craze, mini stereos. Can they hurt you?
In action sports, highlights of the rampaging Yankees and the fiasco at Shea.
And a constant battle between the clouds and the sun will be replaced with perfect weather for tomorrow.
This is the award-winning Action News with Pat Harper, Steve Bosch, Jerry Gerard, and Roberto Tirado.
Good evening. Steve is on vacation. In a new rebuke to Israel, the Reagan administration has halted the planned shipment of 4 sophisticated jet fighter planes in reaction to Israel's lightning raid on Iraq's nuclear reactor. The action was taken after deciding that Israel's use of similar American-supplied F-16s in that attack may have violated the agreement under which the planes were sold to Israel in the first place. State Department spokesman Dean Fisher explains.
I must report on behalf of the President that a substantial violation of the 1952 agreement may have occurred. We are conducting a review of this entire matter and will consider the contention of Israel that this action was necessary for its defense because the reactor was intended to produce atomic bombs and would become operational very soon. While our discussions with Israel continue, and while your committee is considering this matter, the President has directed the suspension, for the time being, of the immediate shipment of 4 F-16 aircraft, which had been scheduled for this week.
And Israel's ambassador to the United States, Ephraim Evron, was quick to react.
And I hope that there wouldn't be any such delay, because if there were, it would be a very disappointing thing. It would be an unjust decision, which we would consider very inappropriate and, as I said, unjust.
A spokesman says President Reagan personally approved the action.
The Arab world wants the United Nations to punish Israel for destroying the Iraqi reactor in the form of a total trade boycott. Arab League UN Ambassador Clovis Maqsood says his fellow Arabs want what he terms a UN Security Council resolution with teeth in it to deter Israel from future aggression. Meanwhile, a French construction worker who witnessed Sunday's precision raid on the nuclear plant calls the accuracy of the Israeli bombing stupefying. The man, one of 150 French workers at the site, says an unexploded bomb now prevents further work or cleanup there. And the worker says he believes Israel timed the attack perfectly to avoid any major loss of human life.
The 1981 baseball season is in jeopardy tonight after a judge's ruling opened the doors to a possible players' strike within the next 48 hours. Sports editor Jerry Gerard is here with that story. Jerry?
Pat, the National Labor Relations Board had ruled in favor of the players, saying that the owners bargained unfairly by refusing to allow the compensation issue. Well, today they asked the federal judge to rule in their favor. That is, a strike deadline would have been postponed for a year, but he refused. He said he saw no evidence that the owners were wrong. Well, the players quickly announced their deadline. Unless there's an agreement tomorrow, no baseball on Friday.
We don't want to strike, but it seems that it's inevitable right now that a strike will take place on Friday. And as far as the length of the strike, we do not know. It could last a minimum of 10 days, and the maximum we do not know.
Right now, just like last year, both sides are showing their strength. You know, the players are all together. They were unanimous. And the owners are all together. They're behind Ray Greeby, who's their spokesman. And they're both shooting a lot of darts at each other, saying, you know, this is the way it's going to be. The owners are saying we're having compensation. The players are saying, look, we won in the courts. And that's the way the American way. You go to court and you win. We're not going to give up our rights just because you say so.
Now, there is some feeling among the players that the owners deliberately remain stubborn to force the players' hand.
The inference in that we want a strike or a long strike, and that's blatantly an error. 26 clubs want to play baseball. I talked to the White Sox this morning. The Yankees are in town, hoping it's not going to rain tonight. Everybody wants the game to go on, and that's why I said in our prepared statement that regardless of what happens, we will continue to meet at the bargaining table, try and achieve a settlement.
Then someone asked him where the whole issue stands now.
Bottom of the ninth.
Both sides will meet tomorrow. They won't have much time to cover a lot of ground. Tim?
Koch makes it official, and we ask New Yorkers how he's doing.
A dying grandmother pleads for a chance to see her Mooney grandson one more time, and a very convincing movie sniper atop the Chrysler Building gives New Yorkers a real scare.
Potemkin has a custom family van at a price everyone can afford, $94.88. Yes, $94.88. Complete with captain's chairs, custom paint, icebox and sink, custom wheels, raised letter tires, roof ladder, and all these other extras. Incredibly priced at $94.88, only at Potemkin. And remember, if this nameplate isn't on the back of your car, you probably paid more than you should have.
We're right there. We were next. Hey, what is this? You're next? Yes. Congratulations. Luigi's a 100 customer. Everything's free.
Sitting pretty all together in the shade of the city.
How you enjoy it?
Sitting pretty all together in Shaper City.
We are in Shaper City.
At Cookies, we believe our customers deserve a great meal from start
to finish.
You've got to eat it to believe it.
Ed Koch may become the first Democratic, Republican mayoral candidate in city history. But first things first, today Mayor Koch made the announcement that everyone has been expecting.
Today, I'm announcing my candidacy for re-election as mayor of New York.
With that declaration, Koch was officially in the race for the second of what he hopes will be 3 terms as mayor. In the same Hilton hotel room where he announced his candidacy 4 years ago, Koch read a prepared statement that was mostly a recitation of his accomplishments.
Today, our city's budget is balanced. The single most significant achievement of my administration.
As we listen to the mayor inside, outside we listen to a cross-section of New Yorkers who were asked the question frequently asked whimsically by Koch himself. How am I doing?
Terrible.
Why? He's not helping anybody.
Our unemployment rate is down.
I think he's dynamite.
He's great to watch on television. He's the best comedian we have. But
how about as a mayor?
As a mayor, crime's gone up.
Despite fewer resources, the police force has raised the number of arrests per officer by 14%.
You have to do better, much better, to get my vote anyway.
While Koch wanted to focus on his plans for the future, reporters wanted to know more about that Time magazine cover and labor lawyer Theodore Keel's charge that there may have been some conflict of interest in light of a political contribution from Time, which is seeking a cable TV franchise in Queens. The mayor brushed the allegation aside.
What you have to rely on is your reputation for integrity. I rely on my reputation for integrity.
He's a little arrogant, he's outspoken, but yet still, he'll get my vote.
I want to be the best mayor the city's ever had.
Thumbs up. I like him.
The polls indicate a lot of people like the mayor, who is expected to turn back any and all challengers. A number of opponents have already announced their candidacy, but they have not qualified for the ballot yet. Koch says he plans to spend about $1.5 million on his re-election campaign. Pat?
A third of worldwide terrorist acts in 1980 were directed against Americans or American property. Affirming President Reagan's tough stance, the State Department now wants quick Senate ratification of anti-terrorist measures against terrorists and their sponsors, identified as the Soviet Union, Cuba, and Libya. Spokesman Richard Kennedy told the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, quote, "We have put terrorists on notice that they can expect no concessions from us." In reference to the Iranian crisis, he added, "We will not bargain for the release of hostages." And finally, he said, there is a clear and consistent pattern of Libyan aid and training to almost every major terrorist group.
Mehmet Ali Agca, the Turk accused of trying to kill Pope John Paul, was trained in terrorist tactics at the Palestine Liberation Organization's bases in Syria and Libya. That news comes from the U.S. foreign diplomatic sources. A State Department official said, quote, "Whether they told him to go out and shoot the Pope, we don't know, but this type of person is trained in those camps, and that type of training would be normal."
The U.S. Treasury Department has given its interpretation of President Reagan's revised tax cut proposal to the Senate Finance Committee. Treasury experts say that under that three-year plan, a family of four with two breadwinners earning a total of $25,000 a year would have federal taxes cut to less than 10% by 1984. That would mean about an extra $1,500 in income. The same family with just one wage earner would see its taxes cut to less than 11%. The president wants a 25% across-the-board cut for all workers, regardless of income. But House Democrats want larger than average cuts for Americans earning less than $50,000 a year.
A deputy chief of the Essex County Sheriff's Office is dead after being gunned down outside his apartment house. New Jersey police say William McGurk may have been killed by robbers as he returned home from his night shift. McGurk did fire one shot at his attackers and somehow made it back to his parked car after being shot 5 times. Police found him inside the car, mortally wounded. McGurk died early this morning in Orange Memorial Hospital.
Still coming up, a low-level radioactive leak at a New Jersey nuclear plant.
And we'll tell you about one of New York's latest crazes that may be harmful to your hearing.
Going to Florida on Easter on vacation. Dad said for me, it's only $49 round trip.
And we're saving with a great Eastern deal, too.
We're going to Walt Disney World, go snorkeling, play volleyball.
Just a little golf, some sun, relax on the beach.
I gotta see an alligator, a whale.
A whale? A little fishing, nothing too strenuous.
This summer, kids can fly to Florida for only $49 round trip on Eastern. Adults save, too.
Well, we gotta rest up now. We got a lot to do.
Come to Belmont Park. If you're out to have a good time, you can't lose.
Thousands were cheering for you. You didn't let them down.
5 easy pieces, a plush sofa and love seat with tufted seats in back, plus 3 tables, separately $1,300. The package, $899. See Siemens first.
About 3,000 gallons of radioactive water leaked from New Jersey's Salem 2 nuclear power plant into a containment tank last night. Officials say a faulty weld seems to have caused the problem and that there was no danger to the public because no water escaped the containment system. Workers are repairing that leaky valve.
Every year, hundreds of children leave home to join religious cults. It's a heartbreaking experience for many families who often resort to kidnapping in a last-ditch effort to get their children back. Tomorrow, the state legislature is scheduled to debate a bill aimed at getting parents temporary custody of children who have joined cults. Christy Farah has more on that. Christy?
Tim, the bill introduced by Howard Lasher does not contain the words cult or religion, but leaves it to the courts to decide if someone has suffered psychological deterioration through coercive persuasion of a group. If so, temporarily a guardian would be appointed. The bill passed last year but was vetoed by the governor. Now it's been reworded but is just as controversial.
Call, Grandma wants to see you. Grandma's dying. She loves you and she wants to see you. She wants to hold you. Come home.
Sonia Privileggi has not seen her 24-year-old son, Carl Barna, for 2 years now, about a year after he joined the Unification Church. Since the family has received letters, artificial roses for Mrs. Privileggi, and an etching of a Madonna and a rosary for Carl's 80-year-old grandmother. But the Unification Church has told the family Carl does not want to see them. Now that is the dying wish, though, of Carl's grandmother. Doctors sent Anna Kiemig home from the hospital to die in her own bed, and they have even tried to reach Carl through the church without result.
Miss everything is available to me. Everything.
Mrs. Privileggi calls this situation a living example of why the Lasher bill should be passed, why a court should get her son home for 45 days. Civil libertarians and traditional religious organizations disagree.
The way to get a grandson to visit his dying grandmother is not by a court order. That isn't the business of the state. And it is clearly a violation of the freedom of the individual.
The First Amendment does not guarantee anything about conduct. It does guarantee the right for you to believe what you want to believe. It guarantees my mother the right to believe that she's going to see her grandson before she closes her eyes.
One member of the Unification Church who claims he was once kidnapped by his parents says the 45-day custody portion of the bill will not be effective.
Maybe he feels that he can't trust his parents. Maybe he feels if he goes home, he's going to get kidnapped.
If he doesn't want to stay, he doesn't have to stay. Oh, I would hug him. I guess I couldn't even talk to him. I could hug him.
The Unification Church claims even its president has pleaded with Carl to see his family, but the church says he does not want to. The church says it has not been able to reach Carl today, but guaranteed that he would phone Channel 11 Action News. His mother says that would be meaningless. She wants to see him alive with her own eyes. Pat.
Thank you, Christy. Here's tonight's report on business, prepared in cooperation with the Wall Street Journal. It's the largest new stock offering in U.S. history. AT&T, the world's most widely held corporation, today sold an additional 16.5 million shares at $57 each. The sale to a group of underwriters raised nearly $1 billion, and Ma Bell plans to use that money for capital expenditures. On Wall Street, the Dow Industrials lost 0.5 point, but winners beat losing issues, and the average share was up a dime. The Amex was up a fraction. More evidence that interest rates may be heading lower. New York's Marine Midland Bank dropped its prime lending rate 0.5 point to 19.5%, but so far no other major banks have followed suit.
This year, I'm the entertainment committee, and this is the entertainment. So I got batteries that'll last. Duracell.
Tests prove after just a few hours, regular carbon batteries wear out. But you can get up to 4 times more use from Duracell. Duracell batteries last longer.
Look, if the music stopped, so would the fun.
Duracell. The copper top battery. No regular battery looks like it.
Or last like it.
For a day you'll never forget, it's the Haunted Mansion and Amusement Pier in nearby Long Branch, New Jersey. Exciting rides, games in the $1 Million Arcade, a spectacular thrill-a-second water slide, miniature golf, a giant-sized saltwater pool, and there's more. All this, and if you dare, enter the world's largest haunted mansion with its winding labyrinths and creatures of the night. The Long Branch Haunted Mansion and Amusement Pier. For information, call 201-870-9673.
Meet Keone Downing, the #1 surfing instructor in Hawaii, and Cornelius Choi, the #1 charter boat captain. Many people think Sam Choi is Hawaii's #1 Polynesian chef. American Airlines wants to introduce you to all the #1 people, like hula instructor Mikey Lockey, who can make being in Hawaii the #1 experience of your life. It's the least you'd expect from the #1 choice.
We're American Airlines, doing what we do best.
They are by far the hottest fad going. Mini stereos, music you walk to. But are these systems hazardous to one's health?
The sound is rich and clean and true. It plants speakers in the middle of your brain. The words of one of thousands of satisfied customers who, despite the warnings of hearing experts, turn up the volume and dance to the sounds of the audio world's newest craze.
And I use it every day. And I figure it's better for my head than my ears anyway. What do I care?
Since the machines hit the commercial market about a year ago, they've been streamlined in size, the price has gone down, and the sound quality has improved. Seems like every electronics firm is making them. Seems like everyone wants to own them.
The portable systems produce exquisite sound, but caution is advised.
There is no real limit to the output of this thing. Over a period of years, you can lose your hearing.
With the volume setting at 7, a precision impulse sound level meter measures the sound at 115 decibels.
And that's a lot of sound when you consider what 110 decibels equals.
Airplane jet engine is 110 decibels. That won't break the eardrum, but the sensitive mechanisms underneath the middle ear and the inner ear are going eventually to be damaged.
It has been quite a lucrative year for the people who sell the machines.
We're selling them as fast as we can unpack them. It's a phenomenon.
Doctors say the machines are safe if used wisely. One suggested the greatest threat is the loss of ambient sound. How safe can one be who walks the streets without hearing what surrounds him?
How safe can one be when there's a reporter like Tim waiting on the corner? Jerry, the Yankees better do well. It may be the last game for a long time.
Might be. They're really rolling, though. Play the White Sox tonight at 8:30. You'll see it here on Channel 11. The Yankees will be going for 10 in a row. They get that. 11 tomorrow night. Friday, they hit the bars for a couple of doubles. Last night, Yankee bats saved the day. They got 8 runs, and they needed most of them. First run came in on a single by Rick Cerrone up the middle, but the Yankees fell behind 5-1. Then Winfield came up with 2 men on.